Dear Lord, we ask that you give this board the wisdom, courage, wisdom, and guidance and knowledge to do what's truly in the best interest of the 25,900 plus students in this district. And we ask for continued blessings of health for all our students, teachers, administrators, staff, and everyone else that is part of this district. In your name we pray. Amen.
Good evening, and welcome to the October 27th, 2025 Dorchester School District 2 Board Meeting. At this time, I would ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda and meeting minute.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Guthrie. Seconded by Ms. Bates. Any question or discussion? All right, hearing none, we will call for the vote. Motion carries 6 in favor, 1 absent. All right, the next item on our agenda this evening are our district highlights, and I will hand it over to Mr. Bohannon to bring us those.
Perfect. Thank you, Dr. Wimberly, Mr. Doherty, board members. We have several district highlights this evening and great people to present each of them, so I'm going to get out of the way. First, I'd like to welcome Assistant Superintendent Ms. Katie Barker to share some district-wide academic achievement.
Good evening, Dr. Wimberly, members of the board, Mr. Doherty, and guests. Tonight, we are proud to recognize Dorchester 2 students in grades 3 through 8 who achieved the maximum score on SC Ready in English Language Arts or Mathematics, and secondary students who earned an A on one or more of their end-of-course exams. These students represent the very best of academic excellence, perseverance, and dedication to learning. Reaching a score like this on these rigorous assessments is no small feat. It reflects not only the hard work and determination of our students, but also the strength of the instructional programs in our schools, the commitment and skill of our teachers, and the unwavering support of families at home. Together, this partnership, school, teacher, family, has helped these students reach the highest possible level of academic achievement. For the 2024-2025 school year, 99 students earned a maximum score on SC Ready, and 2,133 students earned an A on their end-of-course exams. These students are a shining example of what's possible when dedication and collaboration come together in pursuit of excellence. Obviously, because of the numbers, they could not all be here with us tonight, but we are happy that our schools have recognized these students and their accomplishments. But tonight, if we could please give these students a round of applause.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ms. Barker. Now, Dr. Wimberly and Mr. Doherty, if you join us down here as we welcome up for a recognition regarding the National Merit Scholarship Program, please welcome Director of Counseling, Ms. Galia Mercer-Brown.
Good evening, Mr. Doherty, Dr. Wimberly, and members of the board. It is my honor to recognize one of our district's outstanding scholars who has achieved National Merit semi-finalist status, an accomplishment earned by less than 1% of high school seniors nationwide. This recognition reflects exceptional academic achievement, dedication, and a commitment to excellence. The student we honor tonight represents not only personal success, but also the collective support of teachers, counselors, and administrators, as well as our families who have helped nurture her potential. Please join me in congratulating Hope Gillis, a senior at Ashley Ridge High School.
We'll get you, Brooke. Don't worry, we'll get you. Wait your turn. Moms go first. Moms go. Awesome. Congratulations, Hope. And finally, presenting two highlights, Director of Nursing and Health Services. Welcome, Ms. Amanda Sims.
Good evening, Dr. Wimberly, Mr. Doherty, and members of the board. This evening, we've invited two of our community partners to highlight our wellness programs and help celebrate the achievements of several of our schools in promoting health and wellness within their communities during the 24-25 school year. First up this evening, we have Emma Williamson and Lindsay O'Neill, program coordinators for the MUSC Boeing Center for Children's Wellness, to present some awards and highlight the program.
So I am Lindsay O'Neill, and this is Emma Williamson. Like Amanda said, we're with the MUSC Boeing Center for Children's Wellness. And I was just going to give you a brief overview of the school-based wellness initiative in DD2. And it has been a part of DD2 since the 2012 to 2013 school year. So it's the 14th year that it has been in the Dorchester District 2, and all of but 2 of those years. So you've had 100% participation for 12 out of the 14 years, which is no other district that we serve in 20 other districts in South Carolina has accomplished that. So that is a humongous achievement. And just a brief overview of the program for those who are not aware, it's an initiative that operates through a dedicated health and wellness committees at each school. And the committees work throughout the year to implement evidence-based strategies that focus on nutrition, physical activity, social and emotional wellness that benefit both the students and staff. And at the conclusion of each school year, it's a points-based system, and we verify all the points, and the points turn into a monetary wellness award, and that's where we are going to celebrate the top 3 schools tonight. So I think we're going to start with the runners-up. Yes. And do Oak Brook. Oh, sorry. Oh yeah, by the numbers. So this was a highlight for this past school year. We had all 25 schools participate, which reached over 25,000 students, and we awarded 17,700 wellness funds for the district.
Our grand prize.
Oh, we do grand prize first.
Our
All
grand
right.
prize was Beach Hill Elementary. They did an amazing job. So, if we have any Beach Hill representatives, if you could come to the front and take a photo.
And I gave these out last year, but since it was so rushed, I brought them to you for the runners up. I remember we spent a lot of time in her office that day. She said so. Oh, wow. That's not on.
I heard you. That's the second time you said it.
More of a sorority spot. All right, next up, we're going to announce our runners-up. We're just going to do it a little backwards tonight. So our second place winner was Oak Brook Elementary School. If any representatives from that school are here, and they can come forward. And last but not least, our third place winner, Ashley Ridge High School. If there's any representatives, if they can come forward. Thank you, Lindsay and Emma, and all of our school teams. Next up, I want to welcome Rachel Stanley, the Development Director of School Engagement with the American Heart Association Kids Heart Challenge.
Good evening, I'm Rachel Stanley. I am the local director for the American Heart Association, previously known, or Kids Heart Challenge, previously known as Jump Rope for Heart. And I am so honored to work with this incredible district. Through Kids Heart Challenge, students and families have the opportunity to learn about being heart healthy and helping others. And so I wanted to take some time tonight to just really celebrate some amazing, amazing achievements this year. So first, I would like to congratulate the district as a whole. Thank you so much. Y'all were the #4 school district in all of South Carolina, raising over $77,000 in life-saving donations. Do you want me to hold on to these? Okay. And I also would like to highlight the top 3 schools in the district. This is so amazing. A huge congratulations to Knightsville, raising over $11,000, but also coming in top in South Carolina, the #22 school in all of South Carolina, which is so amazing. So such a huge round of applause for them. Sure, yeah. Do you want to do a photo now? Okay. And we'll do a photo, if that's okay. Keep moving. Okay. Yay. And then, thank you, Coach Olson. Yay! And next I want to recognize Flowertown Elementary for raising over $9,000 for our mission. Thank you so much. If there's anyone here who would like to take a quick picture. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And next, I would love to congratulate Sand Hill Elementary, coming #3, raising over $8,000. Thank you all so, so very much. Thank y'all so much. And now I would like to do an extremely special recognition to Jacob from Flowertown. He was the #12 fundraiser in all of South Carolina, raising over $1,700 for the American Heart Association. Thank you so much, Jacob. I just really wanted to say thank you so much to every school that participated in our program. It really is such an honor and privilege. The time, the energy on top of all they do every day, it really does not go unnoticed and really making a difference in the lives of so many. So thank you for having me, and thank you to everyone participating in our program.
This concludes tonight's district highlights.
All right, the next item on our agenda this evening are our board committee reports, and we will begin with our policy committee. Ms. Bates?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. We have several policies up for first reading today. Those are as follows: EF, food services; EF-R, food services, that's the rule; GBC, staff compensation; GCB, professional staff contracts and compensation; and IC, school year.
Thank you, Ms. Bates. As these are coming out of committee, we do not need a second. So at this time, I would ask if there are any questions or discussion. Okay, hearing none, we will call for the vote. Motion carries 6 in favor, 1 absent.
All right, and then all the rest that I have for today is we met prior to here at 5, so we'll have some more policies up for first reading next meeting. And as also we have a November 10th policy meeting at 3 p.m. and December 15th at 5 p.m. will be our upcoming meetings.
Great, thank you, Ms. Bates. All right, next we have our Finance Committee. Mr. Guthrie?
Yeah, so the Finance Committee was able to meet earlier this month. We went over the referendum project expenditures, the discussion of special revenue, and then we discussed the financial report. So I think y'all like the financial reports. It's going to be a little bit more informative, a lot more numbers, easier to digest. So that should be pretty good for everybody to look at. I don't know if Mr. Lee had anything that you wanted to add.
Nothing further to add, just thank you to the team. You guys have put in a lot of things. Looking forward to seeing them tonight.
All right, perfect. And then, we have an upcoming meeting November 10th at 4 o'clock.
All right, great. Thank you very much. And then finally, we have our Facilities Committee. Mr. Farnsworth?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Facilities Committee met October 6th. I would encourage anyone that is curious as to what is going on with facilities to please go back and watch that meeting. I will tell you, facilities is in full swing. We have a lot of projects. We have a lot of referendum stuff, a lot of capital projects, renovations, upfits, you name it. I know a lot of that we're going to talk about tonight as well for information, but again, a lot of stuff going on. Upcoming meetings November 10th and then December 8th. That's all I have. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, and the next item on our agenda this evening are our public comments on agenda items. And we do have 2. Our first one is Mr. Jason Brockert.
On your agenda tonight, you have Unity Day. It's interesting, we're still in Bullying Prevention Month, so that's a good thing, although I hope to hear a little bit of something about it tonight since we haven't heard anything else about it publicly the whole rest of the month. But Unity Day is an annual event celebrated on the third Wednesday of October. But it wasn't in DD2, that's fine. And the event is the signature event of the National Bullying Prevention Month with Pacers Foundation that I, as the founder of Honoring Julian, a 501c3 charity, offered to host a community event for the district in conjunction with Pacer, but instead I was delayed and then denied and then given the silent treatment again. So this year on Unity Day, which was October 22nd, DD2 did not participate, but I sat out in front of this building playing a bunch of music that has to do with bullying prevention. Music maybe a lot more people should listen to, but really about bullying prevention. December 12th, 2022, that's been a minute ago. December 12th, 2022 was the first time I stood at your podium to let you know how you were doing it wrong. And since that day, there have been far more than the ones that I've taken the time to look up. Far more than Kalea and Harry and Aubrey and Charlotte and Corinne. I'm sure there are unfortunately many, many more than Brandon and Bailey and Sammy and Flora and Abby. But then after that, we lost Julian Brockert to suicide because bullying is not being addressed in DD2. But even after that, in other parts of the country and the world, we lost Ksenia and Isabel and Desiree and Stevie and Jaden and Jose and Mihir and Gabby and Jocelyn and Braden and Autumn. And then on October 4th, that was only a few weeks ago, maybe if Sophia Ballinger knew Julian's story, she would be here today. But instead, I am complicit. I have not been loud enough for Julian and everyone else. I am complicit. DD2 is complicit for repeatedly burying the story of my son. You are complicit in your silence. I'm complicit too because I haven't been loud enough yet, apparently. Thank you.
All right, next we have Mr. Tommy Fagan.
First, let me say thank you for the job you do, because I'm sure slings and arrows come at you daily, probably more than one or two. So thank you for what you do. I'm here about the Yerby School. I saw it was coming up, there was going to be a discussion. And the Yerby School, where it's going to go, is out here on a little peninsula of land. And it's surrounded by water, really hard to get to for an elementary school. This right up here is the airport runway. You know, if some mishap with the airplanes, not only that, our county council chairman has already stated that he'd really like to see the runway extended for corporate jets. You put an elementary school out here, how is that going to be conducive with jets coming in and out every day, multiple times for the school children? This is not a good place. I wish y'all would consider putting it in a much more convenient place. It's all the way on the edge of the county on Dorchester District 2. This is the Cypress Swamp running up through here. District 4 is right across the swamp from it. But it's on the very edge of our district. It could be more conveniently located. The little road, Yerby Road, going in and out of there is just a rock and tar road that was put down to keep people from sliding in the ditch. It wasn't a state-made road, and it's long and it's narrow. You know, there's a lot of safety concerns with this piece of property. Please do your due diligence on this piece before you put a school out there on wetlands, another one on wetlands. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Fagan. All right, the next item on our agenda this evening is our board chairs report, and the only thing I have is to remind you of the upcoming SCSBA Legislative Advocacy Conference, and the registration for that is currently open. It's December 6th and 7th in Charleston, and we will need to certify our delegates, our representatives for that at our next board meeting in November. So if you plan to attend, please let Wanda know so she can register you, and also go ahead and let me know so that I can get that list organized for us. Any questions about that? All right, thank you very much. Then we will move on to our next item, which is our superintendent's report, and I will turn it over to Mr. Doherty and his team.
Thank you, Dr. Wimberly and the rest of the board. Tonight we have several items we'd like to cover, and our first is 7A. It's Unity Day and Red Ribbon Week presentation, and that is going to be presented by Galia Mercer Brown. She's our Director of Counseling, and she's going to share with you what we're able to do within everything in our schools during that time. So, Mrs. Brown.
Thank you. Good evening again, Mr. Doherty, Dr. Wimberly, and members of the board. I'm here tonight to talk to you about Unity Day and Red Ribbon Week, which are part of district's initiatives to promote safe, supportive, and healthy schools. So highlighting Unity Day first, our primary goals are to look at how we can address kindness. So October is National Bullying Prevention Month, and Unity Day is one of the district's initiatives to see how we can promote kindness, foster safe and supportive schools, as well as encourage conversations regarding what it means to be an upstander and a bystander, as well as aim to increase awareness for bullying prevention, reporting procedures, and identifying trusted adults in the buildings, as well as the community as a whole. So with that being said, our theme for this year is Together Against Bullying, United for Kindness. And what we asked schools to do is provide specific things that they were doing within the school building to promote those different areas that we have identified as our goals. So Unity Day gave schools the opportunity to highlight how they are implementing kindness and respect in their day-to-day operations, and how are they doing it in meaningful and age-appropriate ways. So what you see right here are some examples that each level has provided holistically, that does not capture every single thing that was performed in the buildings throughout that day, but these are some of the highlights that we have identified. So when we look at the elementary level, that level specifically looked at how they can build empathy and kindness at the early ages. So you'll see things like unity trees where each leaf represents ways students promote kindness and acts of kindness in their building. We also had schools have first responders come out, and they did student body peace signs to talk about how we can implement the support of our community and families. They also conducted classroom lessons as well as segments of the morning show to talk about kindness as a whole. When we look at the middle school level, we talked about how they could focus on empowerment and student voices. So you'll see things here such as upstander pledge walls where students make commitments to speak out against bullying and ways that they can support their peers moving forward in being upstanders in their buildings, as well as advisory lessons that highlight respect, empathy, and responsible online behavior. Schools also included positive affirmations throughout their buildings, so students can see those daily reminders during that time. And then high schools participated in similar pledge commitments to stand up against bullying, as well as door decorating contests, so we can also see creative ways that they could include advocacy from their perspective, and looking at it on developing their ownership and being positive adults and demonstrating positive behaviors for standing up for the principles that we have discussed. And then also, this is their way to connect and be reflective on how they can take actions within their level. Key takeaways that staff and students have shared about Unity Day is that it strengthened a sense of belonging and connection, which is what we want all of our students to have in their buildings, have that sense of connection, increase student awareness and bullying prevention, as well as the reporting for that, and encourage the positive school climate through student-led initiatives so we can make sure that we have their support and they're involved in that process. Shifting now to Red Ribbon Week, which is another national campaign that we implement. Schools acknowledge that awareness last week and this week. This year's theme is Life is a Puzzle, Solve It Drug-Free, with our goals focusing on healthy and responsible choices, raising awareness about substance and prevention, and then talking about how students can be empowered to take pride in living drug-free lifestyles. So when we look at sample activities that schools have provided us, we can see that many of them have theme days that focus on specific topics. I know, like at the district office, you see many people wearing red right now because that's how we started the week off, with wearing red to support Red Ribbon Week. So when we look at elementary, you will see that they do morning show segments, but when we shift gears to secondary, they look at more partnerships with outside agencies like Dorchester County Alcohol and Drug, as well as law enforcement, to make sure that we're presenting things in age-appropriate ways and at the right time for our students that we're serving. So again, just to highlight, the Unity Day and Red Ribbon Week directly supports our district's overarching priorities of looking at the whole child and how we can support them both academically as well as behaviorally, so we can make sure that we are promoting that growth within both of those areas, and looking at how we can ensure empathy and resilience for our students, which are key life skills that they would need now and beyond. Focusing on how we can promote that unity for a school culture and climate, looking at how schools can work more collaboratively in-house as well as with community agencies to build those partnerships, and look at how we can work with agencies like law enforcement and outside supports to provide that safe, nurturing environment, and also making sure that we focus on drug awareness from a Red Ribbon standpoint, and identifying those trusted adults that many individuals need to provide that guidance moving forward. And most importantly, looking at college, career, and life readiness, we want students to make sure that they're gaining skills to help them essentially in the present moment, but also lifelong skills. So many of those activities and lessons that were conducted promote each of those areas. Looking forward, we will continue district and school collaboration to share best practices. We will embed kindness, respect, and health awareness throughout the year through various activities, and continue to strengthen our partnerships with our families and community organizations as we work to addressing the whole child moving forward. Thank you.
The one thing I'd like to point out with Mrs. Mercer Brown, she was able to have every building had to submit a plan, and that plan had to go to her and our academic team to make sure all those lessons were aligned with the goals we wanted, those outcomes. And so applaud you and your team. So thank you for providing that and making sure every school had a plan when we did Unity Day. So thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item we have on our agenda is our Learning by Design presentation. It was the Friday right before fall break. We had our first full day of PD, and that PD plan was put on by none other than Ms. Hayes, and also with a curriculum team, and Anita, Mrs. Canty also helped. But these people were able to put on a full day at Somerville High School. That was where all the elementary teachers were, and then all of our secondary teachers were at Ashley Ridge High School. And all of those focus on curriculum and safety and other items, and so included lunch, And so we have some time also built in there the day for our teachers to collaborate. And so Lara did a phenomenal job of planning that day for all of our district employees. So Lara, thank you, and you're going to get to hear kind of all the fun stuff that took place that our employees were able to learn that day. So thank you, Lara.
Yeah, absolutely. Good evening, Dr. Wimberly, Mr. Doherty, and members of the board. Like Mr. Doherty said, on October 10th, we did have a district-wide event for all of our staff for professional learning. One of the unique things with this is we asked for proposals from local agencies. We asked from our teachers who are doing best practices in their classroom, and then even some of our classified staff and how they do their job. So they were able really to teach their peers on how to do some things. So it was unique, and we had 168 unique sessions, 358 total sessions, like Mr. Doherty said. We had 7 sessions throughout the day, 50 minutes, and we were able to target all the topics you see there, anywhere from content-specific strategies, behavior management, ML collaboration, special education, and everyone got to collaborate, and it was an overall great day. We started Learning by Design actually in 2016 with the help of Dr. Wilson, and whenever COVID hit, we kind of had to stop. So I am pleased that we are bringing it back because it really does serve a lot of good strategies for our teachers. We had 190 plus presenters, and like I said, this was our teachers, our teaching assistants, all of our district leaders, administrative assistants, and even outside agencies. And you know, I know Ms. Mercer Brown was talking about Dorchester Alcohol and Drug Commission. They were there. Kay Phillips, Child Advocacy came out, and then we also had SLED come out, and a lot of the universities. So again, a great day. The teachers' positive feedback said that they liked all the choice, and they liked that they were hearing strategies from their peers and how to help better their classroom.
Also, I'd like to echo Dr. Wilson was a big part of this with professional development. When you look at the schedule, I mean, you're talking about detailed of the number of opportunities people could participate in. One of the things we did was active shooter, and that was actually live at both of our schools, and actually it was full. We're going to have to bring it back again for our people to have in live training on active shooter training. And so I just want to say thank you to Dr. Wilson as well and his team and with Lara. So it was very well done. A lot of compliments from teachers. Teachers were engaged, and so it was a great thing to be part of. So thank you to both of you.
Absolutely.
Next up, we have a presentation on STEMmersion program, and Michelle McDonald of the Dorchester County Economic Development is going to come up and talk about STEMmersion. And it's a great program that they offer, and I had the opportunity to go with to last year. And so, and what our teachers are able to be part of this and earn some extra dollars as well. So, and also our students are involved with this. So, Michelle, thank you for coming this evening to talk about this program.
And thank you for the kind introduction. And STEMmersion, if you're not familiar, we just celebrated our 8th year this past summer. It is a program really designated for all 3 counties. So this is for Berkeley, Dorchester, Charleston County School Districts. It takes the commitment of every school district and every county economic development office planning throughout the entire year to really make that happen. So we've had a new investor come on, a new sponsor, and so we're going to take that opportunity to really highlight STEMmersion and celebrate some of the wins. But we got to explain what it is, right? A lot of people maybe haven't heard about STEMmersion, but really this is a 5-day institute that we host educators to come in and meet with industry. So it's really bridging the gap between education and industry. We set up site visits. They're going out and they're meeting with local businesses, local manufacturers. We had over 38 businesses that were involved this past year, and we're putting them to work. You know, they're actually getting out there, they're creating lesson plans and projects from what they're learning from industry. So it's, again, how is STEM being used today in the real world? And then they're taking that information and that knowledge back into the classroom. And we're putting them to work, so of course they are going to get paid a training stipend while they're with us. So some of the wins just from 2025, I wanted to highlight. We just recently put out our final report from 2025. We reached we had over 153 participants, that's educators and counselors that came with us the entire week for STEMmersion. That reached over 65 schools throughout the Tri-County region. And like I mentioned, we had 38 businesses that participated, and that included hosting us on site, that included sitting on panels, being industry experts, really kind of digging in and being sponsors of the event. They created together 171 individual lesson plans and 31 group projects that are then taken back into the school districts. So when you talk about a train the trainer opportunity and where this information is going, this is where the real impact is. 53% of those participants represented Title I schools, really trying to reach the underserved and create that economic mobility. And we do a pre and post survey to try to compare what they're learning, what they're taking away from STEMmersion. And they reported from all the participants, 97% of them reported a high level of confidence implementing STEM in that classroom. And that's what we're trying to do, is give them the tools to be confident and do what they know how to do in the classroom. So from all of their reporting, the self-reporting, this is the number that I love the most. From 153 educators and counselors, they reported being able to reach 48,634 individuals. That's students, parents, and peers to share that information. So that is the impact that we're looking for, and that's what we're looking to grow. So if you want to help, we definitely want you to follow us on Tri-County STEMmersion. We're on social media now. We're getting with the times. We have a great highlight of photos and pictures and investment in our businesses. And so most recently, we have one of our newest sponsors that have come on board that have joined us today, Charlie Ledoux, and James Chatfield, along with my team, the planning team of STEMmersion. If you want to come up front, they would like to present us with a big old check.
Oh, wow. Okay, that was very exciting news. So our next one, we'll go to 7D. This is a presentation of our school calendars for the 26-27 and the 27-28 school years. We brought this for information at our last board meeting, and tonight we're bringing it before you again for a vote. I'll have Mrs. Passmore is here to kind of go over the calendars, the highlights one more time. Also, I have our principal, Jennifer Bates. She was on that committee as well. And so real quick, we'll give you the Cliff Notes again. We had that information at our last board meeting, but we'll have Jennifer come to the podium and talk a little bit more about it, and then we'll ask the board for a vote. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I wanted to just say again, thank you to the calendar committee for their efforts. We met twice. That committee is made up of parents and teachers, counselors, principals, administrators, PTA, and district staff. The calendars that are shown there and in your packets, they have to meet the South Carolina law requirements, the 190 days term, modified calendar exempt from starting after the third Monday in August. 3 days are designated as makeup days, and public schools are closed on General Election Day in November for even years. The DD2 priorities that these two calendars reflect is that the first day of school happens midweek to limit fatigue. One weather makeup day happens in the fall. A holiday on election day for both odd and even years for security reasons. A 5-day holiday for Thanksgiving. The first semester is completed before winter break. Approximately 2-week holiday for winter break. Staff day upon return from winter break for a facilities check. Spring break is tied to Easter. To align spring break with surrounding districts when possible. And the last day of school before Memorial Day. One of the biggest things when we requested feedback from our schools is whether we were going to have staff return in July or August. And after the committee came back in September to review the feedback, take a look at the calendars, what we would have to give up, everyone unanimously voted for staff to come back at the end of July, the last 3 days in July, so that we could meet all the other priorities. The committee and also a lot of feedback. Folks are really excited to try and get 2 calendars approved this year. So we want to thank you for that opportunity to present you with 2 calendars.
All right, thank you so much for your presentation and your work on this. Board members, at this time, I would ask for a motion to approve the 2026-2027 and 2027-2028 school calendars as presented.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Farnsworth. Seconded by Ms. King. Sorry. All right. Any questions or discussion?
No, and I do just want to point out and say how appreciative I am of your efforts. A lot of folks don't realize that it seems like, oh, we can just put a calendar together and no big deal. Of course, they're behind the scenes. When you look at the statutes, when you look at the precedent of what we're trying to accomplish, when you look at other school districts, you look across the country, there's a lot of stuff to our calendar. And then in addition, just want to say how for a long time we've asked for 2 years worth of calendar. And so that is a huge win for our community because now folks can plan out their vacations, and we certainly are cognizant of that. So again, just want to say a very, very big thank you to you, Ms. Passmore, Mr. Doherty, as well as that entire committee for doing that work. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? All right, hearing none, we will call for the vote. Motion carries 6 in favor, 1 absent. Thank you again.
Thank you, Jennifer. And Jeff, appreciate your time and effort you put into that. I'm going to go ahead and go down below here and talk about the next few items. So. Okay, the next items we'd like to talk about is the elementary school in the area of the Yerby Tract. We've done some little bit more research and talked with the developer, D.R. Horton, on this and where the Yerby Tract is currently sitting. And you can kind of see that. The star up there on the picture to your right, you'll see that is actually where you would come in on Yerby Road. And then you can see the area that's shaded out and outlined in blue. That's actually where the school will be built. As we heard earlier, that is an area, it is a wetland. We would actually have to build a road to go over wetland, which would be we'd have to incur probably over $1 million to do that. And if you look at that, and then you look at the picture on your left, the picture on your left is where Yerby site development looks like right now. When we did the referendum and the question, we were supposed to build a elementary in the area of the Yerby development. And you can see with that timeline in August 2026, the land development starts and will last 18 months. February of 28, they'll start home building, and the goal is 250 houses per year. And from that time, from 2028, it would take us 3 years to build a school. We still have to do our due diligence, the surveys, the permitting. We'd actually have to do a design on that building. and approximate school completed would not be done until 2031. Do we still need that development? Yes, we will in the future. There's supposed to be about 1,400 homes proposed to be in there, but right now, with the uncertainty of that, we're looking at possibly moving the area of the Yerby. And so when we're looking at that, an elementary in the Yerby would be around 750 students. This is equivalent to 30 to 35 classrooms. So our team looked at where could we gain 30 to 35 classrooms in the area of the Yerby. So that's what I'm going to talk to you a little bit about. So here again, the Yerby tract information, you can see the build-out timeline. It was originally supposed to start in 2025 with 25 homes, 2026, 229 homes, 2027, 235. You can see those have been all marked out because they have not started anything in the Yerby tract. So the referendum, what do the questions actually say? It says to construct equipping a new pre-K 5 elementary school in the area of the Yerby development. So DD2 is expected to have 15,000 homes built in the district in the next 5 to 10 years. So planning for growth is a priority for our district. So the $200 million referendum, we're supposed to have 2 elementary schools included in this referendum. So our proposal, if you look here in the area of the Yerby development, you can see at the top, just the red star, that's where the Yerby development is supposed to be. Then you look at the blue, or the red star going with blue around it, that's William Reeves. And so William Reeves is the area of the Yerby, we believe. The distance from the Yerby Road is 1.9 miles, and the distance from the Yerby school site is 5 miles. So then if you look at the red star with yellow around it, that is Knightsville Elementary School, and that distance from Yerby Road is 3.2 miles, and the distance from the Yerby school site is 6 miles. We don't feel like we should be building a school in the Yerby right now because we would have, all those houses would not be built out. We'd have to bus students in that don't even live in that area. So we would like our proposal and what we're thinking and our option is Plan B, and that is to add on to Knightsville and William Reeves for 30 to 35 classrooms. So here's the other predicament that we've come across is the Orangeburg Road project. That project starts in 2029. As you can see in the red, with the red lines up there, actually our bus loop is an actually county road. So that county road goes right up against Knightsville Elementary. So that's going to be built in 2029. It impacts that bus loop. There's 5 lanes of traffic out the front door of the building. This creates a safety issue with the creation of the new road. So this is really when we're talking about the option of now adding classrooms at Knightsville, that is a reality here. And so when you look at that, distance from Yerby Road is 3.2 miles. The distance from Yerby school site is 6 miles. Currently, Knightsville has 47 classrooms, brick and mortar, and can house approximately 1,200 students. And with the trailers, there's 30 additional classrooms there for an overall capacity of 1,500. We don't like having an elementary school of 1,500. Majority of our schools right now are between 520 to about 1,300 right now at Sand Hill. So when you look at the campus upgrades, it would include construction of 40 classrooms, new addition. We would demo approximately 18 classrooms due to the Orangeburg Road project for safety concerns. The net would be approximately 20 additional classrooms. You remember, if we were going to build that elementary school in the Yerby, we want 30 to 35 classrooms. That's what's equivalent to an elementary school. So we will gain 20 additional classrooms at Knightsville when we put that addition on. That will expand our new larger cafeteria and kitchen. If you've been at Knightsville, the cafeteria and kitchen are tiny, and that needs to be addressed. We would expand the multi-purpose room, reconfigure the footprint of the building due to the expansion of Orangeburg Road project, and the bus and car rider loops. If you go by Knightsville on drop-off and pickup, you know that there's a lot of cars on that road. And so this is going to address some of that as well. All trailers would be removed and adult ed moved to Span, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So the total capacity would be 1,400 in brick and mortar classrooms, so 61 total classrooms. And what's this going to look like? So if you look at this, that's a possible reconfiguration design of Knightsville Elementary School. And if you look at that, it addresses the bus loop, safety concerns addressed with the location of the road and the building. You can see up there on the white, underneath the big long rectangle of the yellow, that is a historic. We want to preserve Knightsville, that area. It's built in 1932. We want to preserve the auditorium there in the front offices. And so we want to try to retrofit this as best as we can. You see below that, there's an area that's shaded. That's where the cafeteria is located, and we have some classrooms there with the multi-purpose room. We may have to tear off a few of those classrooms when you're talking an easement and also emergency lane going around there. So that'll be something that we'll have to look into. But again, this is in infant stages. Then you can see in the very back there, you can see where those trailers are in the very top left-hand corner of this. That's where the trailers are in adult as it is. And so we'll talk about that later. But then you can see another yellow addition on there. That will be the new multi-purpose room and the new cafeteria, so it could house over 1,200 students if we needed to. So again, this is what the possible reconfigure would do. It's going to address the safety concerns when they go to 5 lanes there at Orangeburg Road. And it also addresses 20 additional classrooms to help with capacities that we're going to have throughout the district. So an elementary in the area of the Yerby, location to the area of the Yerby to help with growth in this area. You know, if you've been down Orangeburg Road, you can see the number of houses and apartments and multi-purpose housing that's going in. If you look at the opportunity to modernize our oldest school in the district in 1932, and the location of Knightsville can address multiple elementary attendance zones. So again, because of the Orangeburg Road expansion project in 2029, and again, that helps us there. So, elementary school in the area of the Yerby development or tract. Again, William Reeves, we talked about that. So the distance from Yerby Road is 1.9 miles. Distance from the site, school site, is 5 miles. Currently, right now, they've 41 classrooms, brick and mortar, can house 805 students with trailers, and they have 16 additional classrooms for a capacity of 1,125 students. The cafeteria can feed up to 1,200 students, but we would upgrade that campus to add more classrooms. Again, we said 30 to 35 classrooms are equivalent to an elementary school. So we're adding 20 classrooms to Knightsville. We're going to go ahead and add another 12 to 15 new brick and mortar classrooms. We believe that our students need to be in classrooms, not trailers, not learning cottages is what we call them. And again, the total capacity will be 1,200 in brick and mortar classrooms, so total classrooms. So when you look at this is where this addition would be. Again, this is the infant stages right now, but we'll be adding classrooms, 12 to 15 classrooms there. And you can see what that footprint would be. And you can see to the right of that red triangle, those are going to be trailers. We would still keep those trailers, and those will be used for LEAP. That's our after-school program, and possibly our parenting centers as well. So what's this look like? Elementary school in the area of the Yerby tract development. We're adding 20 additional classrooms at Knightsville, adding approximately 10 to 15 classrooms at William Reeves Elementary, and that's an equivalent to 30 to 35 additional classrooms is equivalent to an elementary school of the 750 students. So funding of these two projects will come from the dollars allocated for the elementary school in the area of the Yerby. And so I will entertain any questions that the board may have at this time, but this is our plan B right now. We know that the time is ticking for those dollars need to be spent within the 5 years, especially when we haven't done any due diligence, any surveying or permitting out there at the Yerby tract. And so the information that we've gleaned on that, we feel like this is probably our best plan B at this point.
So super quick, and it just begs to show another example of, unfortunately, and what you have to understand, the district will take any and all land and potential agreements that we can get our hands on.
Absolutely.
But it's another instance of being caught, I would tell you, caught in the middle of a development agreement between entities where we really have no control. This one, I think, is a little bit better than other ones we've seen in the past as far as construction and being able to actually turn the land over to us. But in talking with Mr. Souls and Mr. Doherty, I think we've got a better plan for land acquisition potentially moving forward. So again, just want to point out that this one is not of our doing. It's just circumstances, and we want to be good stewards of referendum monies and moving forward expeditiously.
Yeah, and go back to your question and what your statement, Mr. Farnsworth, is talking about the land. And we did tell the developer we still want that land there, but also I did ask them if they could move that in the front of the development before they started. So I don't know if they'll entertain that or not, but we did tell us our concerns about that. So thank you for those comments.
No, yeah, and I just want to say I do appreciate this plan. I feel like when looking at it, it's very well thought out, and I think, you're addressing a lot of issues. We've heard a lot of feedback from just me personally, I'm sure other board members, regarding constituents and concerns regarding the URB, the location, the build-out timeline, and so, yeah, just kudos to your team for this plan. I think it's a really, really good way to move forward.
Well, thank you. And it's definitely a team effort with Mr. Farrell, Mr. Souls, Jeff Smith, Tina Meunier, Dr. Wilson, and Katie Barker, because these are things we really looked at to try to make sure we're providing enough classroom space and capacity in that area.
Just like to comment that, when we were watching developments happen with the referendum and everything else, how you guys have responded and really thought this through. I knew nothing of the URB when I even ran for this position. Now I learned that it's probably more conducive to a rice plantation than a school, and that's not going to work for us because thankfully right now we don't have a requirement in the district to provide education around rice plantations. So what you guys have done and put together here exemplifies a lot of forward thinking from a set of circumstances that weren't of your doing and under a timetable. I mean, we set forth some plans around the referendum and the timeline that, quite frankly, cannot be achieved at this point. This is one of them. So in all of that, getting thrown the curveball of Orangeburg Road on top of that, I can't say loudly enough how pleased I am at how much thought and time and effort that y'all have put into putting together this Plan B. Still some details to work out and whatnot, but I really appreciate all the work that's been done.
Well, thank you very much. Definitely a team effort, so thank you. Okay, we'll go on to our next item on the agenda is Span Elementary. As you know, Span Elementary is one of our 5 oldest schools in the district. As you can see, we looked at renovating Span, what that would cost us. And when you look at the location of Span, it's next to Somerville Elementary. It's 2 of our lesser capacity elementary schools right next to each other. Both of them are sitting at about 520 students apiece. And when we're looking at possibly renovating and putting $9.1 million into this with the dollars to try to modernize that, we thought, well, is that a good way to use our dollars when we can then possibly, with the elementary school next to it with Somerville, put those students at Somerville or Sires. Also knowing that right now with a lot of our programming, we have several, some of our programs are in houses across in the district, and also we have some programs that we are needing. So again, we're looking to possibly repurposing Span Elementary, keeping the name. We want to recognize that every school is a fabric of our community, and it played a huge role in Somerville. And keeping the name of James H. Span, kind of as James H. Span Educational Center, something that we would like to see and house many other different educational programs. And so I'm going to go through this with you and again in detail, and you can ask questions as we move on. But when looking at Span Elementary, talking about the renovations it's going to need, you can see Span is actually in a floodplain. Our back parking lot will flood due to heavy rain once in a while. Also, you can see the areas on the left. There are some areas that have had water damage or flood damage. Those need to be renovated and actually removed. And so when you look at Span, again, that's part of the renovations. What would it look like if we repurposed of Span? So obviously our food service is in a house. We'd move our food service Airmark into repurposing of SPAN. Our technology department, our ITSs, they would all go into SPAN. Technology is actually in a house. Our SPED department is in a house. Some of them are here in the district office, and some of them are across the district in other schools. So there will be a center to put all of our SPED people there. Also, our parenting center right now is currently in a trailer that's next to SPAN. We'd actually bring that inside of the school. They serve a lot of parents, that parenting center, and we think that's wise to keep that open for our parents in this area. Also, we talked about a possible daycare program for our employees. This would be something that would not be, we're talking 2 to 3 years down the road, probably about 3 years. Again, partnering with the YMCA. The YMCA right now is in the process of developing a bigger child care facility at Oak Brook, and so they're in the process of that. So we've had conversations with Mr. Debney, the director of the Y, and so we're excited about that partnership. And then another need that we look at is elementary alternative school in the future. You know, we have an alternative school called RISE, which is for students in grades 6 through 12, and we believe that we need an elementary alternative school here in the future to help students with behaviors and give them the resources and also some tools to help them. And then 7, we talked about with renovating of Knightsville. If we do renovate Knightsville, again, kind of going with what we talked about the curveball Mr. Lee said with the Orangeburg Road project, then if we renovate Knightsville, we would have to move students into those trailers while we then renovate SPAN. So we're able to then renovate and still continue to have school. So the adult ed will need to have to find a new home. And that home, we believe, will be over at repurposing of SPAN. And then also you'll have some flex meeting space. And so when we looked at that, we looked at the approximate cost of repurposing SPAN would be $500,000 to $700,000. A lot of that will be in the restrooms of putting that with adults, and then also putting some additional parking down where those trailers will be torn off. And so we're going to add a lot more people into this building to be able to have some parking. That parking, it actually would be gravel. Again, that way we wouldn't have to put a retaining pond in. And so when we looked at that, so we keep looking at this. And so what's it look like in this building? As you can see there, we will repurpose this building and be able to use it for a lot of educational programming. So as you can see there in the red, that would be for special education. You can see kind of in the magenta or purple, that would be where our food service would be. They'd have a full kitchen there. They could actually do catering out of their Airmark. And also if we bring over, if we actually do daycare and we also do our alternative education there, we'll have a kitchen there to be able to feed students. Then when you look up and you look at the yellow would actually be possibly daycare, but also our parenting center would be in there as well. And then you have the brown, those are flex spaces, and so those classrooms there in the yellow and kind of above that in the brown, those actually have restrooms in the classroom, so those could be used. So when we're looking at that. Then you go above that, you have a red classroom there. That is Child Find. Child Find is part of SPED. Right outside of that, you have a playground, and that's where students have to be able to play, part of Child Find. And then you have classrooms that will be designated for possible alternative education, those 4 there in orange. We do have a green there for technology, and that could be moved, but that was something we just had there because when you take advantage of the parking lot in the back, if they had deliveries, they could then bring in some of their, any of the, let's say, computers, anything that had to be delivered, it could be on that first floor. Because if you look at the green at the top, technology will be on the 2nd floor. The one thing we're wanting to do is bring back our server. Our server currently is housed over at RISE, and so we want to bring the server over with our technology department. And so then you look at the blue, that's where adult ed would be, and then people could access the back parking lot for adult ed to drop people off to come in and out of adult ed. And then you would have a few flex spaces. I know adult ed does a lot of testing, and then we could do some other things if technology needed to use that for big storage, if we're doing a device refresh and those things. And so we're definitely going to repurpose this building. It's still going to be called James H. Spann Educational Center. We want to recognize that. But repurposing this building, you're going to see it's going to be pretty full. And then that goes to the next item. Again, adding 18 additional classrooms on at Somerville Elementary School. We will redistrict students from Span to Somerville Elementary and Eugene Sires. This will give us more students shifted to those schools at lesser capacities. So what will that look like for our students? So if you're redistricting students from Span to Somerville Elementary School, you can see the star there in the center. That is Somerville Elementary School, and the dark shaded blue is actually students that actually go to Span, and those students will all go to Somerville Elementary. So Span is currently at 60% capacity of 528 students. Somerville Elementary is currently at 73% capacity, or 525 students. That's before the classroom additions. So when we add those classrooms on, those additional classrooms, Somerville Elementary will have a capacity of 1,124 students. And so we're going to add 250 students from Span to Somerville Elementary School, and that'll bring the Somerville Elementary School to 775 students, or 69% capacity with the new classroom additions. And you can see the star at the very bottom, that's where Sires Elementary is. So going to the next slide, you can see here redistricting students from Span to Sires. Sires Elementary School is currently at 73% capacity. So we're going to add 202 students from Span to Sires. Majority of students will have shorter travel time to Sires Elementary, just kind of like what they had from Span to Somerville. And you can see the 2026-27 enrollment of Sires will be 917, which is about 84% capacity. You do not want to go above much more than that, 85% capacity. Again, you want to be functional and be able to have programming in that building as well. And so that's what you're looking at here from the redistricting of those students. So when you look at the repurposing of Span timeline, we had our facilities meeting on October 6th. I was able to meet with all our current Span staff on October 6th at a faculty meeting before that facilities meeting, because I wanted to reassure them that they're going to be taken care of. Our people come first. Our students come first. We want to make sure that they are taken care of and we're able to meet with them. Then October 9th, we sent home letters to parents of current Span students that will be displaced and the date of meetings. And so we're going to have 3 meetings. One meeting for parents that are going to go from Span to Somerville, and then we're going to have another meeting, and you're going to see this. November 6th is that meeting for all parents of students that will be redistricted to Somerville. Then November 13th, we have a lot of students we have special programs over at Span. And so we're going to make sure that all of those students know where they're going to go before the first of the year, right after the first of the year. We think that's very, very important for our staff and also our students to know where they're going to go and also know who their teacher is going to be. And then when you look at this, the other thing we did was on October 22nd, Mrs. Taylor and I met individually with staff members at Span and started at 6:30 in the morning and had 15 increments to ensure everyone will have a job and discuss the process. It was great. The people were very, very nice. They had great questions. They actually gave us some great suggestions as well. So those were great meetings. And Dr. Wilson, who is the principal over there, he helped put this together for us so we're able to meet with everybody, and he has been wonderful through this process, and also Jen Hawkins. So then going down to November 20th, we'll meet with all parents of students that will be redistricted to Sires, and then again, December 8th, the board will either vote or not vote to repurpose a Span. And so again, this is the next thing to kind of show you a little bit of where people are living at right now, or house or employees. So you can see Joyce Lane. And I think Mr. Farnsworth alluded to this about getting more property to build schools. So the one thing we want to get out of is a house business. Right now you can see this house on Joyce Lane. That is a current space of special education programs. And you can see that we had appraisals done on these. And you can see this house is done where the current Airmark space is. And you can see that appraisal. And then you can see this is where our technology department is right now currently. And again, you know, our option would be to sell these not this spring, but a year from this spring, once we get everything done, if that's a possibility. So you can kind of see how all these things kind of come together when we talk about the Yerby, we talk about Span, and then you talk about these houses. And so, again, I'll entertain any questions that you may have.
Yeah, apologies, and I will be brief. No questions, but I do a couple things to point out. I will tell you, and Mr. Doherty, I'm very impressed. The fact that you, as the head of our school district, are up here, and we've all been working on this for a long time, but you can tell that you know this stuff in and out, and it's just very reassuring that even though you could have Mr. Souls come up here and talk about this, you could have Mr. Smith, but you took this on, so I just want to say how appreciative I am for that. And then very quickly on SPAN, I think that's a balance, right? Because we have schools that are certainly very, very much overcrowded, but then we also have schools that are, we'll say, undercrowded, underutilized, and so it's a matter of efficiency. And what I like about the plan that we've laid out is, let's say down the road, something crazy happens, and all of a sudden the attendance area around SPAN picks back up. We haven't demolished the building. We haven't done anything. We could, in theory, very easily retrofit it back to classroom space if we needed to. So again, just a couple points, and I just want to say that very appreciative, and thank you again for the very well laid out information that you've given to us. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Definitely a team effort, so thank you. Any other questions?
I just want to say thank you as well, but also because I feel like clearly the plan is well thought out, and I know you and your team have put a lot of time and effort into making sure that you have thoroughly looked at all the options, and it is very impressive, as Mr. Farnsworth said. But I also really appreciate the fact that not only is the plan great, but y'all have taken the time to speak with the employees and make sure everyone understands why we are considering moving in this direction and why it might be necessary. So the staff and then also the families, because this is a big decision. It's going to affect a lot of people, but it's not one that any of us are taking lightly. And it's clear based on your presentation that you aren't and your team's not. And so I appreciate that. It makes it a little bit easier just knowing that you are being very transparent, have been very thorough, and are communicating with everyone involved. And I feel very confident that we are looking to make decisions that are in the best interest of our staff as well as our students and families. So thank you all for that.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's why you see me smiling and all of us up here kind of smiling, because we don't have questions, because it's very, very clear how thorough you were, how intentional you are. We're saving money, we're retrofitting spaces and updating them appropriately, we're centralizing things. All of this is just very well thought out, very intentional, and just as I echo her sentiments, how you've been with staff and everything, it's a breath of fresh air as a board member to know that your superintendent is so intentional and so thoughtful in what he's doing, and to have that trust there, I just really, really applaud you and your team and appreciate it a lot.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, I don't have anything else. So the other thing I'll bring up here, I think we have Mr. Touchberry and Amy Evans from the Park and Rec Director of Town of Somerville. I think they're going to talk a little bit. I think our next slide here is I get back to it here. Is this right here, our partnership with the Town of Somerville? Okay, it's working now. Okay, so they're going to talk a little bit about this skate park project, so thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Hey, Dr. Wimberly, Mr. Superintendent, board members, we really appreciate the opportunity to be here. I'm just going to speak very briefly on the relationship between the town of Somerville and the school district. Greatly appreciate the communication, open communication, transparency, and the partnership we have. I don't think our relationship has been better in my time serving as an elected official, and I just truly appreciate our partnership. This opportunity is one of those little things that we can do to partner together and create an opportunity for our citizens to have a better facility and improved parking. And for the details, I'll turn it over to the subject matter expert, our Parks and Recreation Director, who's been working extraordinarily hard to update a lot of our facilities and this skate park in particular. The only thing holding her back is our elected officials like myself and our council, but we have budgeted funds for design, and we just need a place, and I think this opportunity presents the space for it, so I'll turn it over to her.
Good evening. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you all. So the current skate park that we have is a prefabricated park. It's around 5,000 square feet now. What we'd really like to do is rip that out and build an approximate 10,000 custom concrete park. It would just provide a lot more opportunities for kids that enjoy skating. It would certainly allow us to offer some programming and different opportunities there as well. The corner that the town owns right now, it's about 0.9 acres. So when we were looking at expanding it, we realized that we really need a little bit more space to be able to do that project and do it well. We looked at a couple other properties, but we really like it here on this corner. We think it's accessible. A lot of kids are able to walk to it and get to it. So we'd really like to keep it there if we could. Some of the area that's shown adjacent to our property, which is owned by you guys, there is a ditch running through those woods. So it's somewhat limited on what you could do, but it would allow us, if you guys would be willing to quit claim that property to the town, it would allow us to be able to expand like we would like and still have room for parking and those other types of amenities that are needed to be able to have that facility at that location. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those for you, but that's really what we're looking to do.
So tonight really is for information, and then we'll bring this back for vote at our next board meeting here in November. And so I just want to give the opportunity for Amy and Mayor Touchberry to come up and speak. But we really appreciate, you guys have been great partners. And so, again, want to reiterate what you said earlier. It's been a great partnership. So we're looking to continue to do that. I know this will really beautify the area down there, and we are excited about being able to partner with you. So
thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next on our agenda is I'm going to have Jeff Smith come up and talk a little bit about our bid, and Tony Souls talk about the bid. This is for, no, I'm sorry, Tina Meunier does. I'm sorry, Tina Money. So. So thank you, Ms. Meunier.
Oh, of course. Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, and Mr. Doherty. This evening, the procurement team has put together the bid approval for approval by the board this evening. This was an invitation for bid for a Beach Hill Elementary School ceiling grid tile and lighting replacement project. It was in the referendum, and again, we went out for invitations for bid. This is confidential information still because it hasn't been approved, and we would have to wait for our 10-day protest period before we could make it public information. But with your approval, we could award this contract and let the contractor know that you have approved it, and we could move forward with the project.
All right, board members, at this time, I would ask for a motion to award the bid as presented. All right, motion made by Mr. Lee. Do I have a second? By Mr. Farnsworth. Any questions or discussion? Okay, hearing none, we will call for the vote. Motion carries 6 in favor, 1 absent.
Thank you all very much.
Okay, thank you. Now we have Jeff and Tony coming up talk about our facilities report. So they're going to give you a little bit of information on a lot of our referendum projects. And so, Mr. Souls, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Dr. Wimberly, members of the board, Mr. Doherty, thank you. Just a quick update on the construction projects going on not only on the referendum projects, but a couple of CIP projects going on. Sand Hill Elementary, an update from this slide. We had an overhead inspection last week. We had a few discrepancies. The third party is going to come back out sometime this week to reaccomplish that overhead inspection, and hopefully our final inspection will be scheduled sometime 7 days after that overhead inspection passes. Elementary school, the ponds, we're still patiently waiting for conveyance of that property, or impatiently waiting. Somerville Elementary, out back here, there's a plethora of activity going on back here. We've accomplished the unsuitable soil problem back there. It was not the greatest in the world. We've actually had to replace the sewer line for Somerville Elementary. And that was, it's been a challenge from the word go, and then today it rained. But they did start the installation of the foundation work last week, and the underslab plumbing and underslab electrical conduits and all that stuff. They're going to start on that this week with the foundation work continuing on. And so which one's here? Ashley Ridge, the update from this slide, found out Friday afternoon. We've got a pre-construction meeting actually starting tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. We're going to have everyone out there for the pre-con and going through everything with the county, and we're going to get that kicked off. And the phase one, the sprinkler modifications, that will be completed by the end of this week, and we're hoping for that completion to trigger the fire marshal to give us approval on the phase one. Somerville High School gym, we received the 50% design documents today. We've got some comments about those documents, and we're going to have a meeting with the contractor, Thompson Turner, and McMillan Pasden Smith sometime within the next 2 weeks to kind of work through some issues on that, and hopefully we can accelerate the design time on that. I think if we can accelerate that, we can get the construction going hopefully before spring break of next year or next calendar year. So Fort Dorchester High School classroom addition, we had the design review for that last week. That went very well, minimal comments. And they're so confident of those minimal comments that they've already produced a 95% construction document, and we hopefully will have those 100% construction documents to submit to OSF in a couple of weeks to OSF, hopefully by the 17th of November. TIF projects out at Oak Brook, the middle school edition, it's winding up pretty quickly. We've got the brick on the building. We've got the HVAC installed. We're going to be dried in probably this week, and that's being done with TIF funds. The elementary school, the structural masonry is wrapping up. They're putting the bar joist and decking on last week, and so step completion on that one is in February of next year. The bus maintenance facility, we've kind of been cranking that one up and getting that one in the mill to be done, and we've got the permitting in progress, the pre-engineered metal building of P&B. Purchases pending on that one. We're waiting on a few more design clarifications before we order that building, and we're working with the contractor and our design firm to make sure that everything is right for that. And like I said, that one was approved in the general fund in 2023, so that's how that one's being funded. And I think that's all I have. I think the next one is Jeff.
Oops, okay. So just a quick update on some things we've got going on the facility side, mostly 8% or O&M money or some TIF money, as in what you see on the slide right now. This is our second middle school courtyard, so I'm really happy about it. It's one of the really positive things we do, because a lot of the stuff we do you don't really see, or you don't really want to see it. I mean, you don't want to see what we're doing in the walls, you don't want to see what we're doing on the roof, but when we do something like this, it's really great. They actually opened it up today for kids, so they're actually utilizing that one, and we're hoping to be able to get through all the middle schools in the next couple of years, in part due to some thrifty savings on some projects and, trying to, make sure we cut corners where we can and do what we have to do where we need to and, be very good stewards of our money in order to hopefully, increase the number of products we can actually do.
And Jeff, I just want to say thank you for doing that because I've gotten a lot of positive feedback on that from parents regarding that. So it's been a very positive project.
I mean, it's we always think about, and we're, doing more and more elementary playgrounds, trying to upgrade those, but, it was kind of forgotten about the middle schools and, doing that one at DeVos kind of kicked it off. And now we want to do, every one of them to try to give them a better place to have activities and just hang out when they have downtime. Brief update on a few things. Windsor Hill, we got a update that they're going to be done by the close of November for that roofing and exterior wall project. The same company that's actually subbing for that exterior wall project is going to Oak Brook as soon as that's done. So that one will be kicking off probably late November, first part of December. Windsor Hill and Flowertown are both getting new playgrounds. They're going to be put in starting probably end of November, beginning of December. So we're expecting them to all be done by the beginning of the year. So those are all funded out of 8% funds. And we made a decision to use some funds as well to buy LED lighting for all of our fields. This will not be game fields for like football at the 3 high schools, but it'll take care of everything else minus Ashley Ridge. Ashley Ridge, we're still under warranty with Musco, and so that's another 5 years. But all the other high schools, all their athletic lights are going to be converted to LED, so that'll be obviously a savings for the district in cost, and also they look really good. They're really bright. Something we're doing in-house too. Our electricians are doing all that work themselves. Oops. Last slide here, just a little bit. So Oak Brook, like I mentioned earlier, Oak Brook and Oak Brook Elementary, their exterior wall project kicks off November, and probably take about 2 months to get done. So we'll probably have that done by the end of the year as well. A lot of HVAC projects coming up. A lot of those projects are actually going to be done before we even get to the summer, and we're hoping we have enough savings in some of those projects to be able to add a few more to it as well. I'm hoping to try to get maybe 2 more schools in the cycle with the savings in that category. Let's see here. Other projects coming up. We actually just met last week about Beach Hill and Austin Middle School roofing projects. Those, the Austin one's coming out of TIF funds, so really great to have that funding source. The Austin Middle School restrooms, our in-house engineer, Robert Mims, he's a PE, so he's able to help us with cost by not having to hire an architect for some of these jobs because he is able to do all the design in-house. So he's working on that currently. He's working on DeVos Middle School locker rooms and the Oak Brook Middle School locker room. So those are things that we're going to be churning out over the next 3 or 4 months that we can, put out for bid and hopefully get all these done over the summer. Same thing with the Gregg Middle School. We've got quite a few projects getting ready to happen there. First thing you'll see is paving is going to occur this Thanksgiving break. So that'll be a full campus paving. And like I said, restrooms are going to get renovated. And we have a lot of money in the referendum for roofing there because we've had about 5 buildings that have to get re-roofed. And I think that's all I have unless there's any questions.
I just say one thing is, you've got Jeff and Tony and Tina and Rhonda and Liz and then Ashley Cash. They all meet once every Monday to go over all these projects because that's a lot. You have 8% funds, you have TIF funds, and you have referendum dollars. And so the amount of purchase orders and things that have to continually to get done, they work really well together to try to make sure we're not missing the mark. And so it's really neat to see. And also Mr. Farrell, I forgot Mr. Farrell.
Who?
Mr. Farrell, who's in charge of facilities. And Kenny does a great job as well. Kenny's still mourning his Carolina Gamecocks this weekend. So, but no, they do a great job. This team is, they work extremely hard in trying to make sure that, we're getting the right pricing. We're making sure we're staying within budget and making sure we're using the right funds. And so I can't thank them enough for all these things that they're doing. So thank you guys.
Yep.
And
Thank
ladies. All right, our next item is our finance report. So Ms. Meunier, thank you.
Good evening again. So tonight our finance team has presented the September 2025 reports to you. We have gathered information through 3 months of this new fiscal year, so we're 25% of the way through. So you can see our actuals for July, August, and September. And then we have projected October through June showing in blue. We seem to be right on mark with where we've been in the past several years. Our revenues for this just the month of September was $15.2 million. Our expenditures were $25.9. This is projected. This happens every year. You will see that our revenue over our expenditures was $14.3 million, which brought our fund balance down to 17.58%. That's why it's really good to have a healthy fund balance, because we're using our revenues, we're using our monies that were left over at the end of the year through until we receive additional local tax revenues, because again, we don't receive all of our monies equally throughout the year. I did want to point out on this report as well that food service looks like it went way in the hole this month. Unfortunately, we were having a little issue with reporting our meals served to the State Department. When we became CEP this year, that all of our schools were CEP, they had to divide some of our schools with the shared cafeterias. So it took them a little while to get that in place, and so now we're caught up in October. But we are doing great in food service area. Our meal participation has increased, and I can't wait for them to present an updated report to y'all. I just wanted to point that out. Our next report, thank you, Wanda, is our general fund balance sheet. Again, if you just look at our comparisons from this year to last year through the month of September, our total assets at the end of September of 25 is $61.4 million. Our liabilities are at 8.6, and our total fund balance is 52, which balances out at 61.4, pardon me. Our next report shown there is our revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance. And this is where you can see our year-to-date numbers. The other report, our cash flow, reports each month individually, and this is our accumulation of July, August, and September. Our total revenues for the month, year-to-date, are $44.5 million at 85%, which reflects that we should have at least 25% collected. Again, we don't receive all of our tax revenues equally, so we're at 85%, but we were right on target with last year. We were at 85% in the same percentage. For our expenditures through this time, through the end of September, is $58.8 million, and we're at 80%. We were at 81%. We're 1% plus or minus. We feel like that was pretty good. So that balances out to our fund balance that we showed you on the last page of $52.7 million. So our next set of reports, these are our new reports that the Finance Department prepared. I'm going to give shout out to Lisa Sizzler, our Director of Budgeting, for getting these nice, pretty reports with all these colors on there. We hope it's in a format that folks can read. I know they can't read it on this slide because it's really small, but it is on Board Docs in a PDF format. And when you look at it there, you can see the numbers and the colors much more clearly. But this is just kind of an overview of, in bar graph form, of what we were presenting in all of the numbers on the boring report, I guess you could say. This is the funner report, showing where we're 5% of our budget for local revenues, 18% of our budget for state revenues, and all our other revenues is at 25%. And that just kind of gives you a comparison year over year over the past 3 years, past 2 years and this year. That was for revenues. For our expenditures, we're at 18% of our budget for our instruction and related expenditures. All other expenditures at 28%. And then we haven't used any of our other financing uses. That is when we transfer funds out of general fund to support some of our other special revenue programs. We'll do that quarterly, so you'll see some movement on that next month. So that was our expenditures. Now, the wavy little graph on the very end is what we were talking about, making sure we have a healthy fund balance, because as you can see at the beginning of the year, the far left on the July, we started with close to 30% for our, I'm sorry, that was the wrong year. The green is FY26 projected at the 25%. And we moved down the chart because we're using our fund balance from the prior year until we get mainly our local revenues, our property tax revenues, because those will come in December, January, and February. So we're working off of our last year's savings and our fund balance until you can see in February, March when it levels out again. So the board has a mark to keep 18% as a goal for fund balance. And we're happy that at the end of the year, we ended at 22%. So we don't feel like we will go less than, let's see, our fund balance on our projection, our cash flow. We're hoping that we don't go lower than 15.5%. So if everything were to not come in, if no revenues were to come in, we'd be able to still have 2 months worth of monies to pay our expenditures. That won't happen, so we're fine for 2 months, as GFOA has recommended that we keep close to 16% for our 2 months worth of fund balance. So those were our finance reports through September of 2025. If you have any questions for us.
Got to ask the question, but I don't think it has any impact. But any concerns over the government shutdown or any other potential impacts from what's happening at the federal level that might impact us?
Not for this current year. We're not certain exactly what's going to happen with our title monies for next year. There has been a lot of talk about that. Our IDEA funding for the Disability Education Act, those funds seem like they're going to be steady and may possibly increase is the word that we're getting. Not quite sure yet about our title funding. But for this current year, we seem to be just fine, and we will work on, if we hear any other changes for next year, how we would make sure that we supplement that program and our programs for all of our schools who are Title I schools. I don't know of anything else for our government shutdown. We haven't seen any effects from, mainly we received the federal money through the State Department of Education through South Carolina, and we haven't heard of any disruptions of monies. Our USDA money for CEP program, we have not seen any or heard of any disruption in that. You're welcome.
Any other questions?
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Meunier. And so I'll turn it over as our last item there would be student enrollment recommendations for the 25-26, and that is in 7L. And so didn't know if we need to go.
Okay, board members, we did receive that information in our packets. Is everyone okay with proceeding in open session with the student enrollment recommendations? Yes, okay. I'd ask for a motion to approve the student enrollment recommendations as presented.
So moved.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Guthrie. Seconded by Ms. Bates. Any questions or discussion? Okay, hearing none, we will call for the vote. Okay, and the motion carries 6 in favor, 1 absent.
And our last item on the agenda for the superintendent's report would be the personnel report. And so those are in your board packet. And so just asking for board approval on those items.
Right. Board members, again, this was included in our packet. Is everyone okay with proceeding in open session? Okay, then I'd ask for a motion to accept the personnel recommendations as presented. Motion made by Ms. Bates, seconded by Ms. King. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, we will call for the vote. Motion carries 6 in favor, 1 absent. All right. Thank you, Mr. Doherty.
You're very welcome.
All right, next item on our agenda is our public comments, and we do not have any public comments on non-agenda items this evening. And the next item on our agenda is our executive session. All right, board members, at this time, I would ask for a motion to convene into executive session regarding a contractual matter related to the purchase of property in the area of Delmar Highway, an executive session for receipt of legal advice related to a contractual matter regarding Tyler Technologies, an executive session for receipt of legal advice related to a contractual matter regarding food services, and an executive session for personnel-related matters.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Lee. Seconded by Ms. Bates. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, we will call for the vote. Motion carries 6 in favor, 1 absent. We are in executive session and we will return. time, I would ask for a motion to return to open session.
So moved.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Guthrie, seconded by Mr. Lee. Any questions or discussion? All right, hearing none, we will call for the vote. Motion carries 6 in favor, 1 absent. All right, board members, at this time, I would ask for any motions from our executive session.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to enter into a contract for the purchase of a property in the area of the Delmar Highway.
All right, motion made by Ms. Bates. Do I have a second? Seconded by Ms. King. Any questions or discussion? Okay, hearing none, we will call for the vote. Yes, we can. All right, all in favor? Okay, motion carries 6 in favor, 1 absent. All right, board members, at this time, I would ask for a motion to adjourn. Motion made by Ms. Bates, seconded by Mr. Lee. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, we will call for the vote. Motion carries 6 in favor, 1 absent. We are adjourned.